Barry Cotard talking to the birds. Take one.
It's very nice that you're here. It's nice to see you again, but just a couple of questions like why exactly are you here? Because you seem like pretty busy right now, so why are you here and why exactly are you laying in my bathtub?
I'm here because you should film my special tomorrow. And I'm in the bathtub because I'm working right now, writing.
Yeah, I guess. So you want to shoot? You want to shoot tomorrow? Just you know, in comedy specials in the beginning, they have these little, I don't even know, these little intros. I don't even know how to describe them. These kind of like cinematic kind of film things. What do you want to do? Like one of them too?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, what do you have planned for that?
I don't know, like nothing stupid that's like, oh, we're trying to figure out the intro. Like, that's kind of played out. Nothing like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't go meta either. That's kind of dumb. Nobody cares about like something that yeah. But we sure should think about something to do.
Yeah, you for sure, by the way, when we're filming tomorrow, you should wear that brown hat, that like adventure hat. That's a good like I'm a director hat. You should for sure wear that one tomorrow.
What hat are you even talking about, man?
Yeah, you know what one. You know which one.
Sure, I wear it. Okay. But why exactly are you in the bathtub?
I'm writing, man. Told you. Trying to write like one or two poems so that when we're filming, I can like in the special say something like, oh yeah, this poem right here. I just wrote this yesterday, or I just wrote this morning. This morning.
I think a cool name would be, because you know, we're filming it without an audience, so I think a cool name would be something like, you know, maybe talking to the birds.
Yeah, that sounds good. Talking to the Birds by Barry Cotard.
Hi, hello. My name's Barry Cotard. I'm a poet, and if you don't mind to, I would like to read some poems for you tonight. A lot of new stuff, very new stuff. Maybe some old stuff that you haven't seen or heard yet. Thanks to everyone for coming. This first one, I wrote earlier today on the way here, actually, so it's something very new. It's called Post-Intimacy. On nights like this, I feel I'm not worthy of your applause. Lately, talking to you felt more like pulling teeth. I know the time isn't right yet, but I'm sure they'll get me when I'm dead. Yeah, like, this is actually also the opening. This is the opening poem for the new book, also titled Post-Intimacy. But yeah, just keep it rolling. I don't know how poetry readings usually go, especially like in this format. I don't know how much explaining is being done in between things, how much talking is done outside of the poems. Yeah, but we'll figure it out. I think we will figure it out. This poem is called An Unofficial Resignation of a Poet Laureate That Never Made It. I don't think there is a place for me in this town, country, this continent, or this planet, for that matter. This is not the fleeting feeling of a writer plagued by existential dread, but more the amalgamation of over 2 decades being lost. I do not belong here. Every person that ever assured me different, every person whose eyes ever felt as close to home as eyes could, went up and left seconds after. I never knew a home. What should have been my childhood home never felt like it. I was nothing but a stranger in my family's home. In the years that followed, I tried time and time again to create home, a place that belonged. To no success, I tried to find solace under the moniker of a vagabond. I walked and I walked. But what good is walking if there's no place to return to? My soul outweighs most others and carries scars deeper than the eye can see. My heart and mind have been cracked and fractured tens of times. I'm not like you, nothing like you. I'm not as strong as you. I'm a fool and no good. Maybe that's why I do not belong after all. Yeah. I don't know. I like poetry. I think poetry is I think it's the only way that you truly can say whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I feel like if it's in a poetic structure, people will hear you out no matter what. Doesn't matter if it's sad or happy. It's kind of what I always liked about it. This one is called, this is something I wrote sometime this summer. It's called After Everything. And when I'm gone, they'll be singing my praises and tell tales of a man that shot himself in the foot every chance he got, of a man that never compromised, a man who immobilized himself with his own morality, a man gone too soon, or too late if you asked him, a man that ultimately died like he lived, by his pen. Yeah. Maybe we can get into some older stuff too. I don't want to go too old because then we're gonna find out how bad I was. This poem is called A Bird Writes About Luck. I wonder what changed. Was it you? Or was it me? Maybe it was just me all along. I used to write love letters to you weekly. Now I'm not even sure anymore if you read any of them. Every poem I ever wrote was about you. With tears in my eyes, I reread these poems, and almost all of them I describe you as an angel, a goddess without equal. It's tragic how now I can't even picture your face anymore. I promised to paint you the world, but you were always more of a literary woman. When you told me I was the one, I never imagined you meant before the next. And if I was only practice, at least I was something to you. I know you'll never hear this, because you hate all my sad songs and all my postmodern tragedies. Just know that still I remember every word you ever spoke to me. I hope you know if you write me a poem, I'll cherish every letter, like I do my final breaths once this noose tightens. Yeah, that's older. It's some old thing. Striptease. A mirror often is the poorest reflection of oneself. Write a poem and let the world see who you truly are. And you strip yourself naked to where only your soul exists. Blind in spirit. The fog thickens. My vision is getting more and more blurry by the second. I can barely see them, the lights of the cars, homes, and street lanterns. I wander around aimlessly through the dark, foggy night. My stomach empty, my feet aching, my spirit detached, my mind racing, and my heart heavy. Like this, every step feels like 1,000, and every thought carries more weight than a dozen freight trains. In the distance, I see a faint glow, the glow of a cigarette, a glowing light that reassures me that I am still among the living. I close in on the glowing light of the cigarette, like a lost ship seeing a lighthouse in the distance. The glowing is a warning, a signal, letting me know I'm not done yet. I'm still alive. This is a very short one, and it's called Art. Art has done nothing but shown me how truly alone I really am. Rain straight into my soul. Looking at the pouring rain, I always felt most comfortable. There's so much more beauty in a single drop of rain than in a dozen rays of sunshine. Walking through the city, hypnotized by the sound of raindrops hitting the umbrellas, I feel more at ease than in my childhood home. Maybe it's the comfort of not being the only one walking around with a dark, rainy cloud above their head. Play pretend. I pretend to have found solace in hopes to trick that dull mind of mine. But I still see the birds, and I know I can't lie to them. Romanticism for authors. What is the true nature of love? Often I wonder. Many nights I loudly declare the death of love in these modern times, just to wake up the next morning ready to plunge myself in it once again. Have I loved before? Maybe twice. Have I been loved before? That I do not know. What is love? Maybe it is the absence of fear when you walk out the door, because I know you'll always come back. But what good is love when it's only fleeting and followed by sorrow? How can the eyes I once called home become non-recognizable to me? How can I forget the face of a person I loved more than the act of writing itself? Maybe love isn't just creation, but also destruction. Because when I love, I'm willing to give up all I ever dreamed about, as well as willing to dream bigger for them. So what is it? Something tells me you know, but I don't want to talk to you anymore. I don't think my fractured heart could handle the answer. Even more, there is nothing more for you to say. You already said it all. You broke my heart and soul dozens of times already, even if in reality we only spoke 10 words to each other. That is the curse I carry. When I'm not writing poetry or reading poetry, I have a day job because that's the state of art at the moment, I think. We all gotta do things. And so quite a few of the poems I write while I'm working. And maybe 2 or 3 are actually about being at work. And this one, called Sounds of a Warehouse, is actually about the place I work at. Sounds of a warehouse. I'm surrounded by noise at all times. The warehouse knows no rest, no peace, no humanity, nor civility. There is no escaping the sound of metal rods clicking against each other, Every short moment of silence is interrupted by wooden pallets hitting the floor. It's a cesspool of all things bad. Every second of every day, I fall victim to hearing the same made-up stories about the past sexual conquests of these 40-something dirtbags. That's all there is in a warehouse. Stories about booze, about hookers, and remarks so sexist, racist, homophobic, they'd make a 50-year-old comedian's toenails curl. At times, I feel like I have kind of not the best relationship with the audience, you know? Yeah. It's hard to describe. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, this poem is called She. She loved to hurt me because she knew every little heartbreak would resort in another painfully beautiful poem. She loved the paint expression of my words on paper. She liked to cut me deep, because she knew I would bleed it out on paper. I've always been a huge fan of these videos, these like interview excerpts that were just the artist or the author's name, and then it's like da on politics or like on art, and it's like always like that. So when I wrote my last book, I was very conscious. I had that in my mind, because sometimes it's hard to find these specific videos, so I wanted to make a couple of poems that were like titled on just kind of as an homage to this thing that I really enjoy. This is on my art. I always figured that the people liked me and therefore tolerated my art. But as time moves on, it's becoming more and more clear that it's the words, the brushstrokes, the stories that they love. I'm just the only one that can give it to them, so they tolerate me. Are you still, enjoying it? I guess. I got just, a couple more. So hang in there, I guess. This is 8 p.m. train. I wear my shades even at night, because that's when the sadness really starts to show. Like the two sides of a metaphorical coin. Some nights, sadness shines just as pretty as all the stars combined. And this might be a night like this. So I cover my eyes and hide my thoughts in an attempt to be who you want me to be. But the nail polish on my nails is already chipping, and my hair is as dry as the Nevada desert. All my necklaces start to feel like the heaviest of chains. My movements turn more and more sluggish. I'm trapped inside this train with a writer, a painter, a self-proclaimed visionary, a fan, a hater, a thinker, a hopeless romantic, and an artist. And all of us share the same decrepit face. Butterflies fly too. In my mind, I already let you break my heart a dozen times, and still the lack of words directed at me, leaving your lips hurt like my very first heartbreak. There was never enough time to love, but that makes it that much worse, because that leaves me to mourn potential that is endless. There are not enough words in this world to describe your beauty, your kindness, the style you carry yourself with. I wonder if there's something I could have wrote, said, done, so I wouldn't feel the need to write this now. You're the theoretical woman of my dreams, a beauty only rivaled by the vast night skies. The first time our eyes met, you made a cynical writer like me believe in all the gods from all the religions. You're simply unparalleled in this world. You walk away while my fingertips freeze. You walk away while my fingertips freeze. Maybe one day you'll read these words of mine and wonder too what could have been. What is love? What is it that I really want when I yearn for romantic love? Is it the selfish desire to have a person next to me while I slowly drown in my perpetual loneliness? Is it the pursuit of a feeling, a state of being so many great writers over time have described? Or is it the sense of validation I get every new day they choose to be with me? The feeling that maybe, after all, I am worth something to someone. Yes. Good. I have a couple more, I think. A couple more from the book, and then I'm gonna read some very new stuff to close it off. Lunch break. Every day on my lunch break, I sit on the same bench, seeing the same people pass by, overhearing the same dull conversations. I look at the same trees that change in appearance every day, but I don't seem to notice until the seasons change. Every day I sit on that bench. I ask myself again and again, have I lost already? Did they get me after all? But what is winning for a writer like me? For how much longer can I pretend that there is some kind of glory in dying? It has nothing to do with glory. It's the rest that I'm so desperately craving, the rest I am so perpetually depraved of. By the warehouse, by the undying urge to continue writing, by the wondering eyes of passerbys, by the birds mocking me, flaunting their freedom. But before I know it, my break is over, and back I go into that dimly lit warehouse that claws at my soul. For how else can I afford to be a writer? Some say that clouds are everlasting. And again I run and hide, run from everything I've become, was, or ever will be, and hide behind the word poetic, behind art. How many more do I have? How many times can I rearrange the same couple of words, not getting through to you? How many times before I have to admit defeat? How many more before you see me as the pathetic failure I truly am? They took the bite out of this dog a while ago. Now the punch is fading too. My wings are stained dark red, and my pen broke in two a long time ago. The only thing I have left are the pieces of my soul I still carry. And that's only because no one is dumb enough to touch such a rotten thing. How does this all end? With another played out allegory about sitting on a balcony or a bathroom floor stained in red? When will I ever understand that no amount of poems will help them understand what is not to be understood? I haven't seen the sun in a decade, but on rare days I see it reflected in a single drop of rain falling from the permanent rain cloud above my head. On art and writers. Everyone can write, make art. After all, it's just lines on paper. But not just anyone can become a writer or an artist, for that matter. Writing is easy. It's just strategically spaced out words on a piece of paper. But what a writer does is that much more complex. Writers shift. They shift emotions, opinions, politics, and even the world with only a pen and a piece of loose paper. This one is called The Birds Are Waiting. I prayed for death many a night, but every time I can see the vultures circling over my head, I can't help but tremble in fear. I don't know what exactly it is I fear, but I do. I can feel it in my bones. And yet, I still yearn for it. Yeah, guess now some of my newer stuff. This is now all stuff that I've written within the last month and a half maybe. This is called curse. The sad truth of it all is that my worth will always be measured by the potency of my words, that the love I receive will only be in exchange for those tragically beautiful words I pen down on scraps of paper. That is what it means to be a writer like me. Roses. I love you like I do the wilted roses on my balcony, so I keep the roses there as a keepsake of what was lost. This one is kind of a longer one again, and it's called Drake Could Never. This is for the common person, but more so for the so-called creatives and the artists, so to speak. The ones that spend countless hours agonizing over the placement of a single word. The ones that have created artworks considered masterpieces they can't stand to look at. The ones that create oh so effortlessly and still put in the work. This is not meant for the art school kids, for the career artists, the Wes Andersons, the Drakes. This is real art. They wouldn't get it, they never bled on paper. This is neither Dunkin' nor Starbucks. This is a cup of tea, made for you by a person that cares, and is served to you on a balcony on the bad side of town. There's a difference. Yeah. Tears on a mirror. I never could love you like I wanted to, because I knew it wouldn't be fair. I'm a man, no a writer on death's door. You're too beautiful to suffer with me. I'm not worth your tears or thoughts, so I'll never even give you a chance to mourn me. Stray. With my last crumbs of hope lost, and the noose already tied and ready at home, I take one last night stroll through these oh so familiar streets. I walk along the same roads I so many times wrote about, but this time walking towards me is a stray black cat. A cat whose eyes share the same sadness mine do. We both stop and look at each other. Like a funhouse mirror is sitting right between us, we stand still. What felt like an eternity but couldn't have been more than 15 seconds is interrupted by the cat walking towards me, and gently and lovingly the cat wrapped its tail first and then its body around my legs. Maybe one more sunrise wouldn't be the worst, I tell the cat. No ordinary love. They were all heart, and I carried enough soul for the two of us. They were all grace and all things good. I was sick and rotten to the core, but I carried it with style. That's what they loved about me. birds shouldn't vote. I leave the politics to the politically minded. What else do they have, other than the thrill of their self-imposed superiority being proven wrong every other day? I let them ruin the sad excuse of a country even more. I let them fail right into hell. This is called Words, Words, Words. I don't have much, I know that. I'm not that good of a writer, not that talented of a painter either. I don't have the dashing looks of an actor or a body anybody could care for. But I do have ideals. Ideals I never could betray. Live by the sword, die by the sword. Sometimes you live, some days you die an excruciating death. Either way, at least you stood for something. Yeah, I think it's getting to a close. Thank you. Thank you for listening. I have one more poem that is called Bookshelf. It's a poem I wrote a couple days ago, and it's a poem I wrote out of book titles of books that I have at home in my bookshelf. It's something, yeah. It's called Bookshelf. These are the selected poems, journals of war and peace, the gospel of anarchism and black revolution. The journey of a dirty old man whose love was like a dog from hell or an infinite jest. Only dull people consider lobster for breakfast. This is not fame, this is a cat in spring rain. This is a guide to revolution. This is not funny. This is 1,000 years of joy and sorrow. This is about how to be a human and walking each other home. Yeah. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. I'm Barry.
Yes, my dear, I'll lay forever here. I'll lay forever here. 'Cause I'm looking for a tree just to die under. I'm looking for a tree just to die under. Somewhere along the way I've lost my wonder. I can hear it, I can hear the fun.